up, Ham Radio? Kilo Echo 8, Papa Zulu November, the Ham Radio Adventure Guy. Thanks for stopping by. Your one stop for everything Adventure Radio. It is Hump Day. That means it's time for the Hump Day Happy Hour. Hope everybody is doing well. We're going to start it out with thanking these guys right here, the Patreons, the people who keep me going like I'm going right now. I'm currently still in the state of Florida, and that's because I'm on a Patreon appreciation tour, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But these guys are awesome, and they're going to hang out with us later in the after chat. And we're going to talk about these guys right here, the YouTube channel members. Just as important, just not lucky enough to have the appreciation tour, I guess. And then the Adventure Club. Everybody stayed in the same place. We got a couple of donations, but nothing's moving so far. So, if you want to take your pot shot at Mr. Golf Quebec, let's do this thing. Let's see if we can knock him out real quick.
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Oh, see the chat filling up. Good to see. Oh, how's it going, Hayden?
Dude, it's going good.
This is like the third string straight you've made, man.
This is number 2.
Is it 2?
This is number 2.
I thought you didn't make.
We are getting back to normal, and we are happy.
You didn't make last Sunday?
No, I haven't been able to make a Sunday in a while.
Okay.
But I was back last Wednesday. I'm back this Wednesday, and I'll be back as long as things keep going good.
As long as things keep going good. That's right. Sorry. Change of weather's got me a little bit under the weather, but,
You're in Florida. What do you mean change of weather?
Yeah, it went from cold to hot.
I went from cold to hot, and then it's got my sinuses all gooped up. Anyway, what's going on, Dan?
Not a whole bunch. Got the ladies today down activating in Florida. That was pretty damn cool. Finally get to hunt Toby. I mean, I've hunted her before, but it's always a treat. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, here, Terry trying to keep his lead over here.
with the evil post.
The Terry with the marker of the Terry.
Mark of the Terry.
I'm your Uncle Terry. Thank you very much. Speaking of the ladies, Toby happens to be a Patreon, and it's kind of what inspired this trip, as I knew she was coming down here. So I wanted to get up with her and surprise her, and I had planned on just keeping that quiet. And then she posted in Discord yesterday that she wasn't going to be up this part of Florida till Saturday. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute, you were supposed to have been here Friday. So we're trying to rearrange and stuff. But one way or another, I'm going to have to be activating with Miss Toby sometime tomorrow or Saturday or Friday one. We're still trying to figure that out. But
I'll be your Uncle Terry.
No, it's not even Uncle Terry. It's Uncle Terry.
I'll be your Uncle Terry.
That's your Uncle Terry.
That's what Terry says when he gets in his white van and he goes to give out his candy.
He's
like, hey, I'm your Uncle Terry.
Hey, what's up, Donald Duck? See you in the chat.
Donald Duck in the chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the plans for, I've already hit up Dan and Robbie and Eddie, and Toby will be probably Friday.
From what I heard on the way back up, Eddie said he might do a brisket. Now, this might be the first time Eddie's hearing about it here live on the internet, but
Oh, okay.
That's the way stuff goes sometimes, I mean,
that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Like a what do you think, Dan? A Jekyll Island brisket room?
Brisket on the beach. We can have the BB.
Brisket on the Jekyll Island beach. That sounds pretty good.
As long as the brisket doesn't turn into Mr. Hyde, you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
Look at him. He's already. I'll be at Reed Bingham.
Oh.
No, your camper and your family will be at Reed Bingham. You'll We'll be delivering brisket to the king in the hand of the king.
Yeah. Your camper and the family will be at Reed Bingham, but you and the smoker will be at Jekyll.
No, for real though. I did want to stop by and get the twofer in with Kilo Oscar 4 Fox Sierra Zulu, and I got to look at it, and it's about 3 hours out of the way. But if there is any Patreons that want to meet me along the route home, I will gladly meet up and do an activation with you. So I'll be taking 75 up to about Lake City, 75 to Lake City, and then I'll be taking 10 across to 295 to 95, taking 95 up to 26, 26 to 77, and 77 to West by God. So that'll be the route, and it'll start on Saturday and end sometime on Sunday. So
if you keep going, you can go to Harper's Ferry.
I just don't see that route happening. No, if I didn't want to do the 3 hours out of the way, let alone 6 out of the way.
Yeah, Scott, good to see you, buddy. Been a long time.
Yeah, he's been hiding on us, I believe.
Well, he is stealth.
It's true.
But yeah, that will be the plan. But again, this is not the only Patreon appreciation tour. I think in a couple of weeks, I'm still not even going to announce where that one's going to be. The one person who I'm meeting up with knows where it's going to be because, they're coming from Nevada to meet up with me. So I kind of would have to let them know. But Patreon tours are going to be happening all next year because that's what we're going to do. Oh, here we go.
Speaking of Patreon tour, it's about 100-ish or so days until Hamcation, February, Orlando. Get your tickets and your rooms if you don't have them yet.
That's right, because
it's always a fun time down there.
There will be all kinds of shenanigans going on for that weekend for sure. I can guarantee that.
It's February. I know somebody's going to ask. February 9th, 10th, and 11th, 2024. I believe the dates are. Yes, 9th, 10th, and 11th is the Hamfest down there.
But please be aware that during the time of the show, I will be working hardcore. That's one of the bigger, I'm not as laid back as I am in Huntsville at that show. I have a lot of work to do at that show. But, that show closes at 5, and after hours, that's a different story. So, not that I don't hang out during the show as well, but
maybe some people that are maybe in the chat can join us in another little 10-part rove last year we did with Bill Brown. Had a lot of fun with that. So
yeah,
the more the merrier. I think last time we had 7 ops.
We did a 10-part rove and I think a 22 U-turn tour.
That's right.
Oh, funny stuff. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about traveling in Pota. I don't have a big bunch to talk about it tonight, but I got to thinking, because ever since I started doing Pota, traveling is different for me. It's not just okay. I'm going from West Virginia to Florida to go to my mom's house or something. It's all right. I'm going from West Virginia to Florida. What Pota parks do I need to get on the way down? What do I need to? What states do I need? What new parks do I need? And when am I leaving Florida? I will be leaving on Saturday, John. Saturday morning at some point, and I will be home on Sunday evening. And yes, I know that trip can be made in one day, but not when you Pota.
When you Pota, that's correct.
So, but the way I've traveled has really, really changed. It's always where am I going to Pota at? Like on the way down here, I can tell you anytime I travel down south from West Virginia, I typically like to try to stop at Lake Norman. I love Lake Norman, so that's normally always on my list. But you know, I try to get other different parks and stuff like that. Like this time, I got Santee Cooper Lake, and I've been to Santee Cooper Lake many of times, but I had never been there to do Pota before. So, that was a new one for me. But my question to the people in the chat is, all right, so your family says they want to go somewhere, 3 states away. What do you make sure you have in the car with you to where you can Pota? What's your deal? Because I don't think everybody's as crazy as I am. Because when I come to Florida for vacation, I've got 3 radios with me right now because I can't fail activations. If something goes wrong with a radio, I have 3 antennas with me right now, which is light for me. Three antennas is light for me. But I've got 4 antennas. I lied. I just thought about it. I got 4 antennas.
What I do is just fit all the stuff I can in the truck. If there's room for the kids, cool. If not, oh well.
There you
go. All right, so ham radio hobby, backpack with a G90, buddy stick, and battery takes up no space.
Yeah.
See, and that's cool. We got FT9. Hold on, I'll scroll past me here. FT991A and a few HTs. Leave the family, bring the shack. Here we go. Here's the correct answer.
There you go. November Lova has an answer in there.
And this right here is correct as well.
I love Lake Norman. When I stayed there on my trip up and activated with Reese Cup, beautiful park. I loved it.
So the reason why Lake Norman hits so close to home for me is because I lived on Lake Norman for about 10 years. So it's definitely a special place to me, and it's always something that I love going back to.
A lot of good stuff in the chat here. Kenwood TS 480, Wolford coil 54-inch whip. Yeah.
This is all stuff. This is cool. This is stuff I like to hear. I like to hear what other people's doing because.
Yeah. We got to hold the phone just a minute. We have to acknowledge that my boo is in the chat, not activating.
I know. Listen,
I'm shocked.
We're going to put this out here because not only has he started activating again after his long hiatus, but he has remembered that you don't activate at Wednesday between 8 and 9 o'clock. He's getting so much better, man.
Mm.
Yeah. John says he's heading down here in 14 days. John, how long are you going to be here and what route are you taking?
891 end-fed halfway of rougher recoil DIY dipole and a motorcycle.
Nice.
That's about the same setup you took to Logan, right? If anybody hasn't seen that video about motorcycle mobile, that's a good one.
I see Mr. Cootie Key in the house. So
David has a question for you.
Any parks in Virginia around Richmond area? Are you asking if I'm going to be going near Richmond?
Have you done any parks in Virginia around or near Richmond, Virginia?
I'm going to say yes. And you're going to ask me which ones, and I'm going to say I have no clue.
Refer to my activation logs.
I can't remember the last time I was up that way. So I would have to look. If I could remember the names of the ones, I might could tell you something about it. That's the problem with doing the quantity of parks I do. Thank you very much for the super chat, Mr. Kapow. But I forget them. Like there's times I'll even hear a name of a park and I'm like, ooh, I need to do that one, and I'll go to it and I'm like, this looks familiar, and then I'll find the perfect place to set up. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been here before. But
I was just about to throw that up. Yeah, don't forget a 2-meter rig too. I got a pair of cheap old $35 tri-band HTs that I carry with me all the time.
You know what?
So,
I'll tell you what. I normally have 2 meters with me, and today we were out. We did 6 parks today, and at one of the parks, I was getting really close to I don't know, 200 contacts or something, and the band was starting to die out. And the closer I was getting, and we got to within 2, and I was like, man, if I just had 2 meters with me, we could park each other right now and be done. And because we were in Mom's vehicle, and the 2 meters was sitting in our vehicle, and so yeah, but we ended up getting them. And we just had to cost a queue more than 3 times. But so for my, I guess it depends on the trip. If I'm traveling for the weekend, it's a little bit lighter, but it's never, the weekend I'm just taking one radio for sure. But I've always got 3 or 4 antennas with me, and I've always got extra stuff because it's just what I do. Batteries, I don't have to worry about batteries anymore because I have the King Daddy battery. I've got 60 amp hours, and I'm pretty solidly good. I don't think I'm gonna have to worry about batteries.
Yeah.
Although I do have a second battery I've got a second and third battery with me, but it's a 4.5 watt amp hour battery and a 5 watt amp battery. So for my QRP rigs, and the two extra radios I have are QRP rigs too, but don't think I couldn't activate with them if I needed to, and if something happened, because you never know when you're going to have a power surge into a campground and you're using their power, which I never do anymore. Lesson learned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Hey, thank you very much, Mike. Mike hunted me at most, if not all, of the parks I was in today. So, what about? See, I don't normally fly. What's the people? What's the people in the chat? What's the flying? All right, 75 to 10 east, 94 south. I don't know, 2 weeks. Are you taking? Are you
95 south probably?
Are you taking? Okay, yeah, it'd be 75 to. Okay, I know. You're taking 75 all the way from Ohio, then I'm assuming.
To 10 and 95, I'd assume, instead of 94. Yeah.
So yeah, it probably is 95 because that's basically what I'll be doing going back. I'll be taking 75 north to 10 east to 95 north.
Yeah, I bet they would.
Well,
just open up the emergency door at 30,000 feet and drag your infed out of it.
Eddie has a good point with the knowing CW, and would open the door to those micro radios that you could throw in your backpack, and that'd probably make flying a lot easier.
Yeah, that's actually a question that I'm curious. So, has anybody ever been on a cruise and snuck one of those micro radios in with them?
You'll have to sneak him on.
Yeah.
Because
Tell him you're bringing one on.
No.
Who just went on a vacation to Alaska?
Chris,
took his
and
radio.
he couldn't take his radio.
Yeah.
You can get special permission ahead of time, I'm sure. I've looked into it. I didn't have enough time to do it on the cruise that I went on, but I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah,
I've heard of other operators doing that.
I don't know. Chris said they wouldn't let him.
Or I could be totally wrong. Who knows?
Yeah, but if you take one of those little QMX, how would they know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And if they ask what it is, just tell them it's a AM/FM Walkman type. The old Walkman. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like
MP3 player.
I mean, first off, I've never went. I mean, did they check your luggage to start with?
Not too much. I mean, it's just like going through any other customs.
So it probably does go through like the scanners where they X-ray.
Yeah. I'd assume so. Yeah.
And if they say something like that new radio that just came out that everybody's raving about, it's just a radio receiver, so I can listen to the radio. That's all.
Yeah. Well,
I ain't gonna know what it is.
I've got that radio, but I'm having issues with it already. So.
I
don't know about raving it. Yeah, it's when I turn it on, all I see is blocks.
Nice.
So, I haven't fooled with it a lot to try to get it fixed or nothing.
That's an Alinco, isn't it? Or
oh no, I'm talking about that cute.
Oh, you're talking about that one that somebody built for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. No, I was talking about the Elecraft that everybody's been doing the reviews on.
Oh,
last week or two.
Yeah.
Brent, are you talking about your carry-on for the ship? I mean, because as far as an airplane, you can take any radio you want on an airplane. I don't have my case sitting here, but my case will actually pass for carry-on for my DX10. I can take my DX10. It's the batteries that you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not taking your battery box on a plane.
Yeah, they'd probably frown on mine.
Yeah.
What if he checked it?
Oh no!
It's still the size of the battery.
Can't even check it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't even check it.
The best you can do if you want to get it to where you're going, a battery's that big. The best thing you can do is ship it where you're going, like FedEx Ground,
or just not go on an airplane.
Yeah, because even shipping batteries is a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Call up your boo and get a private jet.
Hey,
now we're talking.
Not a bad idea. You swing by on your way and pick me up.
There you go.
I'll pay for gas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said that you could get special permission from the pilot to bring a bigger batteries on or something.
That is correct, but
how would you go about doing that when you don't even know who your pilot's going to be?
That's what I was saying. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So
now, see what I've done is places that I frequent anyway. While I was there, I got a battery. I bought a battery and had it delivered there, just like you would normally at your house. And I keep one there.
Right. So. And that's kind of what I was going to do before I met Eric over in Hawaii. When I went to Hawaii, I was going to order a battery and have it shipped there. But now I wouldn't have to worry about that with Eric there.
Yeah. I don't know. Shipping to Hawaii for a battery might be more than a damn battery. Yeah.
No. I was just gonna order a new battery.
That's what I mean.
No, I've got.
Well, hey,
I've got something for it.
Amazon Prime, free shipping.
They got to be losing their butt over that, though. I mean, especially in that scenario,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I am curious though if anybody's ever did that. So this ham radio cruise that David's talking about here. Does anybody know anything about that?
No, but Pat just said he worked a couple guys in Jamaica on a ham radio cruise yesterday, and he
Oh,
posted the QRZ link to N5 DSR. Apparently, he's
Jamaica
a
man.
coordinator.
You got the QSOs in Jamaica, man.
It is no problem, man.
I don't know where those guys worked. I worked today, but I worked somebody actually park to park, and they were in another country, and I don't remember where it was off the top of my head. But they were, of course, Americans because they were. It was kind of backwards than what I'm used to. It had like number and two letters, then stroke with their call sign after it. And I got them park to park today. I feel like it was some island though.
You do good in Jamaica, James. If you went, you could be the Mon.
Yeah. Now, listen, I'd go crazy if I went to Jamaica because every time
Hey, man.
Hey, man, I'm like, yo, what's up?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, there's truffle butter in the chat. What's up, Brian?
Hey. Ow.
I was giving him crap when he hunted me today.
No, Sherry, you're right. The cost of cruises aren't bad. You'll never find me on one just because I don't want to come back with like explosive diarrhea and a stomach bug for a week. They're like peace tree dishes.
Yeah.
That didn't happen on the cruise I went.
You were one of the lucky ones.
I was. Well, I have a strong immune system.
Also now they're like
years of licking windows.
Like about 50 to 70% of them come off the cruises now with COVID. So
yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's like every Hamfest I go to, I take the next week off of work because I'm expecting to come down with something, and luckily, I haven't yet. But
well, that's because 85% of them has had their colonoscopies done, and they're kind of immune to a lot of the stuff that they're not passing around.
That's very true, but I'm not gonna come in contact with their polyps either. I mean,
well, you never know. You might sit on their hover round or something. Does anybody when they travel take their radio setup that will go 10 wide on the bands? That's what I travel with. What about you guys? How has Pota changed your traveling? I know Dan just did a big trip recently. So
yeah. The as Ray says, Kilo Charlie 3 radio whiskey. There's no such thing as a straight line in Pota. So if you say I'm going to go from here to Atlanta, it's just straight up 75, about 3.5 hours. If you just want to go straight there, it's a straight shot. But I can't do that because I have to stop here and then here and then here and then here. And a 3.5 hour drive ends up taking me 12.
And to prove that, after a big ham fest, watch Carrie and Ray and plot every park on their way home.
I swear they try to draw their call sign on the map.
They do.
Dude, I swear to God, I don't know if it was last year or the year before Hamcation. I was still down here in Florida. I can't say nothing because I was in Florida for a month after the show still activating. But it seemed like most of that month that I was still here, they were in other states still making their way home.
They went north and took a hard left.
It's funny how fast people get somewhere too, because even in Huntsville, like a day or two after Huntsville was over, one of our buddies was up in Canada already activated. I was like, wow. But yeah, there's no straight lines because if you find a part, especially when you haven't activated yet, most of North Georgia, I haven't touched.
But that's just like Santee Cooper, I got on the way down. It was out of the way. It was, because I come down 77 across 26 or whatever, and supposedly go down 95. Santee's up 95 from where.
Yeah. And if I'm trying to get somewhere, I can't just go to a park and sit down and relax for a while. If I have somewhere to be, i.e., I can't spot on Pota. I'll just spot on our Discord and get, 20, 30, 40 like that, and then move on. If I spot on Pota, I'm going to be there for an hour and a half at least.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll just go ahead and spot, that's why it takes me 3 days to get to Florida half the time.
Yeah.
Now on the way back, I'm only going to be taking 2 days. So we'll see. We'll see how it rolls. But it's definitely changed the way I do things. And like, even when I'm not stopping, I'm seeing those brown signs. I'm like, ooh, that's a park. Ooh, I got to remember it. There's a park there. And it's just absolutely crazy.
It's a lot tougher too. Like during my big road up the East Coast over the summer, I had the places all mapped out where I was going to stay that evening, and so you have to make certain targets at the end of the day. So you have to kind of budget how long you have in each park, as you're going up there, and it makes it difficult because it's hard for me to look at my watch and say, all right, I got like 5 minutes left in this park before I really need to get so I can get to my end goal for the day at a reasonable time. Because you can't show up to a state park where you got a, plot reservation or whatever. You can't show up at 9 o'clock at night and expect to get in there because you got to check in and everything else, right? So,
it's funny because Brent says as big as Discord is, he spots only on Discord and just avoids the spotting page. And there have been times when I spot on Discord and I'm like, did somebody spot me on Pota?
Yeah, beat me to it. He was reading my mind.
Yeah, when I was up in New Hampshire, I hit a lot of parks that are very underactivated, rare parks. No at-nos, but just rare parks. They've been activated maybe 1 or 2 times before. A lot of state forest and piddly stuff like that. And
so
I never spotted on Pota because I didn't have the time, and during that 15-part road I just didn't have time to spot on Pota.
So here's the question: when you're doing your Pota trips, or not even your Pota trip, when you're doing your vacation and you're planning your Pota stops along the vacation, how do you guys pick the parks? Do you pick, okay, well, I want to stop here because it has a lake and it's going to be pretty, or do you? I'm just going to stop right here at this wildlife management area because it's right off the map, or how you go about doing it?
The way I did mine was whatever was closest to my route that I was going to be on. Like Harper's Ferry happened to be right there. Lake Norman happened to be right there. I'm driving past those in the same direction where I go. They're not out of the way. Now I did have help from a person on the Facebook group because I posted my initial road plans because I was going to dip down into Rhode Island on the way up real fast to grab a park, and somebody who lives there in Rhode Island says, that park's in not a good part of town. You might want to pick another park, and that's just somebody who knows the area a lot better than I am. And it actually saved me about 3 hours of drive time on the way up, not going to Rhode Island. So I just did that on the way back down and hit a better park anyway. So the local knowledge, if you can find somebody local in a state you're driving through that happens to be near a path or the road you're driving through, local knowledge goes a long way to choosing parks.
So for me, it's kind of a mixture of both. If I'm going down and I see, a state park and I see it's got a body of water in it, and it's 5 minutes off the road, and then there's a wildlife management area right off the road. I'm going to go to that lake, just because it's a better setup. Unless I'm on a really bad time constraint that I got to be somewhere at a certain time, if it was like business related or something. But if it's just a difference of me getting to a motel, even an hour difference, I'm going to pick the nicer view because that's kind of what I got into Pota for, was being in the outdoors and stuff. But if it's just I'm traveling through this long trip and I just need to state and I need to keep going, yeah, I'm going to hit that wildlife management area.
Yeah.
So just depends on the needs of the day, I guess.
Like my last park of the day where I'm gonna crash that night if I'm tent camping or whatever on a road. I'll make that a decent park, like like Lake Norman, because I'm gonna be there all night and in the morning. So forget where I stayed in Delaware. Help me out. It's near Newark, Delaware. What's that state park right
I
there?
can't remember the name of the park.
Which one?
It's near
I remember
Newark.
looking it up.
Newark, Delaware. It's right outside of Newark.
Got the page. Let me look it up.
It's a very popular park.
I'm trying to remember.
Why can I not remember the name of this park?
Dude, Delaware's a blur to me.
No, I mean it's a really popular park.
It looks like that would be. You said it's near Newark?
Yeah.
Come on, internet.
I'll think of it here in a minute, but
I can't remember. The Delaware's a blur. Like, that's what I'm saying. When you do so many parks, that weekend we did 42 parks.
Yeah.
And
Bellevue.
I can remember a few things about some of them, but I can't remember the names of them or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember one park we were parked on a cobblestone road. Yeah, but I can't. They're all a blur.
I'd have to say my two favorite parks on my road was Lake Norman, and I wasn't there for very long, maybe an hour or two. High Point State Park in New Jersey. One, I had a really good company because I activated with Toby, Brian, Joe, and some other people, but it's a beautiful, beautiful park. You're up there above almost everything in New Jersey.
I feel like High Point is what I activated in New Jersey too.
It's a beautiful place.
Hey, thank you very much for the super chat.
There are no straight lines in SGA.
South Gulf Alpha.
There's a lot of places in South Gulf Alpha where we are that we say you can't get there from here. You got to go around. I'm sure you got places like that in West by God too, where you're looking on a map and the places you need to go are literally 4 miles apart, but it takes you an hour and a half to get there.
Yeah, it's actually funny because I'm used to activating in different states besides West Virginia, but like yesterday we went out and I did all the Crystal River parks yesterday because it was Halloween, instead of Crystal Lake it was Crystal River, but Sherry actually said like, man, these parks are all close together. And I mean, technically in West Virginia, the parks are that close together too. It's just you gotta drive around, your knee to get to your elbow in West Virginia, whereas it's just a straight line down here. So it's really kind of funny.
Larry, I haven't been up that way. That's my next thought anyway, is to do more of Eastern Central U.S. up through Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, up around in there. So. And then after that, I'll work down the central, Missouri, Arkansas, down Louisiana.
Yeah, I think Terry said
I did skip Kentucky. I'm sorry.
I think Terry said when he retires, he was just gonna uh, load me up, and we're just gonna go on a U.S. store. We're just gonna hit them all, and 50 states in 50 days or something like that. He said.
Oh, the Three Amigos are doing a road this Sunday and Monday. So y'all are going to be doing what, like 80, 82 parks?
What in a block?
Just as a warm up.
On foot. On foot.
82 in a block.
Back in 1936, a moose took a dump here. Let's make it a park.
Don't worry, Kyle. We won't let Dan stink up Missouri. We'll send him to Missouri.
Missouri. I'm gonna run 40 meters in Missouri and see if I get a 3.3.
That when you're getting to activated all states, do you have to get Missouri and Missouri?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I was just curious.
They're right next to each other.
And you can only get Missouri from one person.
No, I mean, believe it or not, there's more than call to that. Just one on the radio that
That's
I
right.
know of.
So you have to stay in Missouri until you get your Missouri contact.
Oh, I can get that easy. All I gotta do is spot.
That's right.
Oh, and if anybody hadn't seen it, Kyle had a really good stream last night. I watched it today. I always enjoy his Halloween pirate radio streams.
Surprised it getting demonetized.
All right, so I want to know what's going on in Gatlinburg.
I watched a couple of it. I was kind of in and out listening more than I was watching. And he found a couple of cool weather beacon stations for like aeronautical stuff. It was really interesting. A couple of really freaky damn like conspiracy, they're coming to get me type stations. It was a good stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inspired me to check on the Russian buzzer today. I didn't hear it today, but I heard it this evening.
Everybody go watch Kyle's video because he needs a bunch of views so he can make money because he bought me a nice Christmas present. He ordered me a teardrop trailer.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Now you just need something to tow it with.
Well, I mean, Kyle's probably going to just drop off his truck with it too, considering he didn't know he's giving me the teardrop. But
He said you can have the truck; he'll just buy another one.
Is that what?
Yeah. Thanks, Mom.
So here's what I want to know. You guys have been talking about traveling and stopping at parks along the way. What about those that, like for me, I'm the only ham radio operator in my family. So my style is more of getting to the destination where we're going with the family and then looking around that area. Like we spend a lot of time at my in-laws in West Virginia. We do our vacations there, and I work the different parks in that area. I wonder how many people are in the same situation.
Well, I mean, that would be okay for a short trip, but for a longer trip, I would suggest looking for Pota parks that are family friendly. Like, for example, there's I can think of two parks that's within an hour for me here. One of which they do like a mermaid show with, the mermaids are under the water and they do this big whole show, that the family could watch while you're activating. Another one has like this really nice animal exhibit, has about every animal you could imagine in it. So you can find Pota parks that are, family friendly and have stuff to do. If you got a dog, maybe they're going to walk the dog and stretch the dog's leg. Why not be at a Pota park?
Sure.
So, there's always options.
And another thing just came to mind because we saw a park that's not too far away from us where you can do like excursions on horseback. So I wonder if anybody's ever activated a park from horseback.
You can make more parks.
Where do you stick that Wolf River coil?
I would say that James up in Canada does do parks from the horseback, but it's more
That
of
would
the
be really cool.
more of the creating them. He rides around on that horse, and he'd be like, "All right, I'm setting up a 50 park row for the Three Amigos. I got to hit six drops on this block, and 3 more on this block, and 2 streets."
Don't step in my park.
Oh, I keep that on the wrong side.
So question, Brian. We all know that it's a magic horse that poops to parks up there. When a moose poops, is it automatically a threefer?
4.
Yeah, they got 4 legs.
Yeah.
All right. So Dan, when you're doing a big trip like you were doing, how did you go about mapping out? What was your logic behind? Okay, I gotta be, because you were on a time restraint getting up there and stuff like that. How did you go about mapping yours?
It helps that I've made the drive before. Never done any parks on the way, but I've made the drive before, so I knew the best route to go up there. I knew I didn't want to go straight up 95 because that's just a nightmare and it's not very scenic. So I pretty much always take the same route. I go over to 95, take it up 26 to 77, over to 80, 81, 82, so, whatever, and then go up through Massachusetts that way. Then I just figured out how many miles or how many hours that I wanted to drive a day. And it just mapped it out like that. People I wanted to meet on the way, people that wanted to meet up with me. I could have driven further the first day rather than stopping at Lake Norman, but it was a convenient spot to meet up with David, get an activation in there, stay the night, relax a little bit, and then go on from there. On the way back, since I hit most of my parks on the way up, on the way back, all I had to hit was Rhode Island, because I skipped it on the way up. Rhode Island, DC, and Delaware are the only 3 states that I had to hit on the way back, because everything else I hit on the way up. I did DC Pfeiffer about 9 o'clock that morning. So I left New Hampshire. I did Rhode Island and Delaware. Stayed in Delaware that night. Got up the next morning, did the Pfeiffer in DC, and I made it back here to the house by 10 o'clock. Because everybody's like, there's no way you can drive from DC to basically North Florida in one day. I said, all right, hold my beer. I got this.
Yeah, well, I couldn't do it because there's too many parks in between there.
Yeah.
Now, my thing is normally it's around a comfort thing, because where I have a messed up hip flexor and my hip contracts, it causes a lot of lower back pain. So normally about between 2 and 4 hours.
That's what I was doing.
I need to stretch my legs.
Well, I had my dog with me.
Yeah,
I actually could have done the trip faster, to be honest, but I had my dog with me. So about every 2.5 hours, I was getting out of the rest stop anyway. Let my dog out, give him some water, let him do his business, things like that. So, yeah.
So I try to think every 2 to 4 hours, and that 2 to 4 may vary, as in, okay, well, if I stop in between 2 and 3 hours, I'm still going to be in a state that I've already activated, and I'd like to get one in the next state. Let's make it 4, or something like that.
But my main goal wasn't really the number of parks during that trip. It was to get those states activated.
Right. Absolutely.
So once I got done with DC and I knew there was nothing left south to me, because I hit them all on the way up, it was just turn and burn from DC. I wasn't interested in stopping. I just wanted to get home. where there's probably a lot of parks that I could have stopped it on the way and turned it into another 3 day drive. You know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just like, I come down here quite a bit. I don't normally drive down here. I think I've only drove down here since I started Pota. I think I've only drove down here twice.
Mhm.
So there's still a whole lot of parks that I can do in between Florida and West Virginia.
I just enjoy the drive, to be honest. One, I can carry all my gear with me. I don't have to worry about these airline regulations about battery sizes and all this crap. I can carry all my radios, all my antennas, my backups for my backups, my batteries, backups for my batteries. Just carry it all in my truck. That way I got everything with me. And once you get above South Carolina into North Carolina and above that, the drive is beautiful. It's just a beautiful drive.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. It is a beautiful drive. I've made it many times. QRP from a moose.
That's right.
The Duke of Alabama's in the house. What's going on, George?
The bang bang.
He's probably just walked in the house from activating, knowing him. Anyway, anybody got any traveling questions before we start to wrap this up?
I will say the longest time during that whole road, that whole 2 weeks, was the last 2 hours before I got home. That last 2 hours on that stretch of road felt like it took an eternity.
You were tired at that point, I'm assuming?
It was crazy. Oh, I was exhausted. And it just got done raining too, because when it's raining and you're driving, you got to concentrate more and your brain gets more tired and everything else. And it got done raining, and I'm like, all right, I'm an hour and a half, hour 45 away from my house. Perfect. This is going to go by fast. No, sir. It felt like forever.
Larry, to my knowledge, I have not run across any that I remember paying to get in. And I've done most of them before the drop. I don't remember paying for any in Kentucky. West Virginia has one that you have to pay to get in.
Well, that's a good question from Kyle.
I didn't use any, Kyle. Like I said, I just figured out how far I wanted to drive, what state park was closest to my end goal, and just went on the state park's website to see what they had for camping arrangements. Because I did primitive camping. I didn't need like water hookup, sewage, electric, or anything like that. I threw my tent up and just laid there and slept. But
see, I have to be careful about campgrounds. I have to have the ones that have underwear security, because there's people like Terry that runs around in state parks and steals underwear and stuff like that. So you might have to get underwear security if you're in Uncle Terry's neck of the woods.
Is that like travel insurance?
No. It's basically they put them in a cage with a bunch of bees in it. So, and then your drawers smell like honey when you get them back too.
Honey and disappointments.
Oh yeah. I'm kind of excited to actually see Kyle's teardrop.
You gonna bring it to Orlando, Kyle?
I don't know. I can't remember when exactly he's getting it in.
If you are, I'm crashing on your teardrop.
On the top?
I don't care where.
If he brings it to Orlando when we see him walk out in the morning, Dan, we'll get on the inside and just put like all kinds of pictures on the ceiling and the roof and everything of Terry in different hats.
That's a good idea. And then we'll ask him a couple hours later, why did your teardrop catch on fire?
And then one in the very center of Mimi.
Terry needs a come up with a calendar.
Oh, that's
Different pictures. The Terry calendar.
That's great.
A Terry sheep hat calendar.
That is great.
You know, kind of like the firefighters do, but not.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord. Anyway, all right. Well, we're about to wrap this up and head over to after chat, which you're going to hear more of this crazy nonsense going on, I'm sure, over there.
Oh,
But anyway, Patreons, if you're along the route and would like to meet up on Saturday or Sunday on my way, hit me up. I still have slots available. Other than that, I'll be activating. Guess what? Tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And actually, there's a video drop tomorrow, which unfortunately I still have to edit tonight, probably while I'm talking to you guys on after chat. But then I'll be heading back to West Virginia on the weekend.
Hope you brought some warm clothes.
Yeah. I kind of dread that. But it's got to happen. What you got coming up, Hayden?
well, not too much. I just want to say, if you want to join us in the after chat and you're new to the show, sign up in Patreon. There's still a free membership, correct?
Yep.
Sign up for that free membership. Send me or Dan an email. We'll get you in the after chat tonight. It's always a good time. I just want to say thank you to Terry, Chris, Mike, and Eddie for the super chats tonight.
Dan, what you got coming up?
Not a lot, man. I think it might be a surprise, but I think I'm going to hunt tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Might catch up with somebody on Saturday and do an activation. I don't know. We'll have to see how that pans out.
That sounds like a fun time. You know, speaking of hunting, I added some new people to my do not hunt list, and it you know, that's a pretty big list because I don't hunt. We'll catch you guys in the after chat and on the air tomorrow. 73, everybody.
See you guys.
73, everyone.